We're live.
All right.
How's it going, guys?
Pretty good.
I'm doing well.
Tower, we're losing your volume again.
Again? Already?
Yep. So, decided I want to start a little podcast. I gave it the name Futura. Just, it's kind of just open-ended thing so we can talk about all kinds of different things. Doesn't necessarily have to be one certain thing. I asked Facebook AI to make me a little intro the other day. I hope I can live up to the hype that it gave out. So, it says, welcome to Futura, the podcast that delves into unexpected intersections of politics, religions, and conspiracy theories. Join us as we explore the fascinating and often controversial connections between these seemingly disparate worlds. From biblical prophecy to political intrigue, and from secret societies to hidden agendas, we'll dive deep into the uncharted territories of modern discourse. So tune in for thought-provoking discussions, lively debates, and a healthy dose of skepticism. New episodes released bi-weekly. Join the conversation and shape the future of Futura.
Futura.
Futura is a font.
It's a font?
Yeah, it's a font name.
It's a font name.
We're
It's also
fantastic.
It's also,
I
yeah.
mainly just said that so you can hear my voice, all right?
No, we can't.
I got a few topics I sent to you guys that I know something I was thinking about. So, you guys know what Pangea is?
I've heard of it. I don't
Yes.
like it. No, I'm kidding.
Giant supercontinent.
Yes.
They talk about
Yes.
the prehistoric
Yes,
times
yes.
millions of years ago. I kind of believe the Bible actually talks about that it exists. So,
You
Genesis. I do. What about you?
I personally, I think it is. I think it does exist. Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to make you look weird.
Yeah.
Really?
You have a thought, Tyler?
He does. It's not a great one.
I mean, it's you know, people have already looked at it several times where they... What?
You're so loud. I'm sorry.
Now I'm loud.
Yeah.
You're really loud.
Oh, dear God.
If someone's driving down the road listening to this, they're gonna hear
Okay.
you,
Okay.
and then
Is
their
that better?
whole back side of the vehicle's just gonna explode.
Stop you talking. Is that better?
A little bit. It'll work.
Okay, all right. As I was saying before, Mr. McScrooge
Now he's frozen.
interrupted me there. Yeah, I mean, I think it existed. I mean, you had the continents that geologists have kind of put together and formed a puzzle before, and saw that it was kind of easily could be shaped into one thing. So that's where that came from. So, I mean, it's very possible. I mean, it explains how everybody got to where they were.
Right. So, Genesis 1 verse 9, right out the beginning, says, God said, let the waters under heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters, the seas. And God saw that it was good. So in my mind right there, all the water was gathered in one place, all the land also had to be gathered in one place.
That's an interesting. Yeah.
I mean,
no, I like it.
So, then you go into at what point did it all separate? Genesis 11, that in the whole world was one language and in one speech, and it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime they had for mortar. And they said, let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad across the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down and see the city and that tower which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do. Now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Let us go down there, confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of the earth, and left off to build the city. So in my mind right there, this is after Noah, after the flood, they're building the Tower for Babel. The thing that they are trying to prevent being scattered, God did anyway once he found out what, that together they were going to be able to do anything they wanted, and scattered them across the earth. I don't understand when the earth stopped moving, but I believe at that point in time he separated, after they went out their separate ways, he separated the land to keep them from being able to get back to one another to create that unity.
Tyler, you go before I go. What do you think?
I mean, when you go to the Creation Museum, they have this whole diorama of how the Noah's Ark and the things, and what they kind of present is the fact that when the waters receded, that's when the different land masses, the different continents were created. It's kind of interesting how whenever God said, scatter them, how in the world that would become and how that would be. It's kind of an interesting thing to think about whenever you're just off, you're doing your own thing and you're walking down the street, because not everyone was probably at that tower or something, and they're just walking around the market, and all of a sudden it's and they're somewhere else. So it's definitely interesting, and you have to think about, like, okay, now where did the Indians come from? Where did
Indiana.
Different? Yeah. I mean, you have the Aztecs, the Mayans, the different Asian cultures and things and such like that. So you have to think of, there's got to be a way. And even just one other little tidbit. I mean, even the Asian cultures have a Noah's Ark story. It's interesting. It's on the back of their money and some of the different currencies.
Back on the money.
Mm-hmm. There's a boat
on the back of the money.
And on some, ask Pastor about it.
You heard that from Pastor?
Yeah.
And which class did you hear that from?
His tabletop Bible study.
That's not fair.
He's so good to listen to about things like that.
No, that's not fair. I'm going to call somebody about that. I'm going to call someone.
Do his Bible study.
To Tyler's point, there's lots of, not just Asian, but there's just about every culture out there has some story of the flood in mass proportions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I was just going to say, so this is my take on it, okay? Because I think it's both, but then there's a little bit more. So, because I study the Torah, if you look at, first of all, most people look at the Bible and they think, oh, is it a history book? Is it a political book? Is it all kinds of different books? Is it a religious book? It's not any of those things. It's a guidebook. It's there to guide us from one point of life to the next point of life. That's what the sages or the rabbis say. So, when you think about, so there's a couple of different things, right? I've heard some people say that the reason why we have people on each different continent is because when God said he made male and female, he doesn't tell you exactly how many males and how many females he made. He just simply says he created male and female. And then he says, and then he placed Adam and Eve in the garden. So some people think that there are people that were from other continents around the world, but I do believe in Pangea. My take on it is I don't know that there are any other people besides Adam and Eve, and I'm not here to talk about that. What I'm here to say is that I believe that when the ark, or when Noah's flood happened, and Tyler kind of pointed out the Creation Museum, they actually say that the planet was split because the fountains of the deep opened up, and so that would have shifted those continents to different parts of the globe or whatever. Unless you're living on a flat Earth, and then we're in a different atmosphere, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
Playing Minecraft.
Yeah, you're playing Minecraft. But wouldn't it be a square if it was Minecraft? Just
I mean,
it's a
flat
square.
Earth.
Yeah, but the
Isn't
Earth
it a
is
big square.
no. It's the flat Earth is like a disc. Anyway, that's so. If they say it's a disc, I don't know. That's what we should talk about flat
That's
Earth.
Anyway,
That's not what I was talking. What I was trying to say is that all happened when Pangea split, and then that's when the nations are separate. But the Torah is not always chronological. So sometimes events in the Torah will go from, like, Moses really skips around, and probably for good reason, because the same time that the Jews will teach about Noah's Ark, they also teach about that Tower of Babel situation going on. So they're like, it's like one and the same. It's in the same. They call it Noach, which is kind of simple. But anyway. Some of the words don't sound anything like what we know them to sound like, and then other ones sound like exactly like, and you're like, well, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So, outside of my incessant rambling and smacking my computer on accident, the point I was trying to make is that they look at these themes as one and the same. So we don't know the exact timeline, whereas in Troy's talking about it might be two separate events. I think it's the Tower of Babel happens around the same time that Noah's Ark is happening, and Noah's building this ark because God is angry at the earth and humanity because they're building this unholy tower. But one thing is certain is they do talk about the unity of the tower. The unity of the tower is super important because if people are unified, God says nothing can stop them. So what would happen if the world would be unified to one cause, and it was the bad cause, so he split up the languages? But think about if we came together for a good cause, like, solving world hunger, or, loving each other as we love our neighbors, stuff that's biblical. If it was a God idea, God would probably have said, you guys are doing pretty good, and gave us a good high five or something.
It kind of makes you think if that was his initial plan with Adam and Eve, whenever he was like, go, populate the earth and things. And I mean, if that was his grand plan before they got the boot, if that was like he was intended for everyone to be unified from the get-go,
Absolutely.
just kind of what of a different world it would be like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it, the other theme is I am my brother's keeper. When Cain kills Abel, Cain lies about where he hid his brother's body, but God hears the blood of Abel screaming out to him. And all Cain had to do was say, hey, I didn't really appreciate that I had to bring an animal sacrifice because I'm a planter and not an animal guy. And then, God would have said, well, listen, this is how you're supposed to. But Cain actually understood that there was one way to cover sin, and that was with the sacrifice of an animal. And I think a lot of people don't know that, but Cain actually did know, because his parents should have taught. If he didn't know, it was because his parents didn't teach him.
Well, and I think he did know, because if you kind of follow all through, the Old Testament, there are different kinds of sacrifices for different things.
Absolutely.
And it talks about how they did give a sacrifice of harvest,
They did, that's true.
That's true. Yeah. And so it's like, okay, if you rewind it back, and they're always talking to, as generations happen, because how old Adam and Eve were, and the kids that they had. I think that it was a thing that he did know, but I think he in his own self thought this was good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it.
So.
You're right.
I've got another point here though that might make it where it's what I think would be. It's different. So, trying to figure out what gopher wood was.
It's wood from a gopher.
Gopher. Yep. Gopher approved.
When you look it up, it states that in biblical use of timber which was used for Noah's Ark. It says either of two North American trees.
What?
So,
Is it the redwoods?
so when I was looking it up, the two that it's referring to for North America are white oak and hickory. The NIV, though, called it cypress. That we call gopher, called it cypress wood.
That's interesting.
So, all three of those are North American woods.
So he was an American.
He's American. Probably not.
That's all that we needed to know, buddy. That's all we needed to know. No, it's fine.
Yep. He was the true founding father.
100%.
Another side point that I found out the other day.
It's an interesting. I've never known that.
Yeah, I mean, it gives more credence to Pangea and how that whenever Noah built his ark, it was right there.
It was all together.
Yeah.
And then,
What it would seem like.
yeah.
There's one.
Yeah.
Well, there. I really wish that I'd gotten the scientist's name, but he does a lot of videos.
Bill Nye.
No, it's not Bill Nye. Bill Nye's not. Bill Nye thinks the planet's like a billion years old. The Jews teach it's only 6,000 years old, and so I don't think Bill Nye knows how old the planet is. But
No one does.
He's like Ken Ham's buddy or something. Ken Ham's the guy that does the Creation Museum. Anyway, this dude is basically, he takes like a marker and he kind of maps out how like Africa and South America kind of fit together like in a puzzle.
Yep.
And then he kind of like pushes all the continents together and like shows how they were once at one time one landmass. And then when the fountains of the deep open up, he kind of explains. He also explains how the Grand Canyon was formed. You know, we've been told for years the Grand Canyon was formed over millions of years. But if the Jews are saying that the planet's only 6,000 years old, it kind of makes no sense how the Grand Canyon was created. But a massive amount of water went through it. And over the period of I don't know how many, 40 days and 40 nights, I guess, I don't know. It created all that water, created all those rifts in the canyon. What were you going to say?
So, speaking of after that rifts in the canyon, did you see it? I just seen it the other day. It's a picture of the Grand Canyon with items that look like very worn down versions of a pyramid with the Sphinx in front of it.
Yeah. No, I haven't. That's weird. I haven't seen
You
that.
can see the cutouts for the front legs, where it would come up for the front of the torso, and then standing behind it is a very worn down square, pyramid shaped feature.
Where is that at?
It's in the Grand Canyon somewhere.
Huh. I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go look at it right now.
So
Right.
Go get your donkey.
Go right now. Get on my trusty steed.
So, while you're looking that up, just get to know, people get to know us a little better. Foods that you love that you shouldn't.
All of it? Every one of them?
Crumble cookies.
Oh, dude. Crumble cookies are amazing.
Crumble cookies,
my.
dangerous. Very.
Cheesecake.
Cheesecake, yeah, I'm
Cake.
not really a cheesecake fan. I don't really like cake either. No-bake cookies, though.
Donuts.
The ones from Coffee Grounds, bro?
Tractor tires.
Okay, so Troy doesn't know what Coffee Grounds is. There's a
I
place...
used to know. Yes. Wabash.
He's been to Coffee Grounds before.
Okay, I stand corrected.
That one closed, but now it's on Brazil.
Yeah.
Mr. I go loud for 3 seconds and then go back to soft. He's incredible.
I've spent many hours at the Terre Haute Coffee Grounds a long time ago.
Dude, the Brazil one has amazing no-bakes. But
Peanut butter no bakes are amazing.
But every time I go in there, they're out. I think
I buy 'em all.
I think they're wise. When Tubby comes around, the no bakes go away.
Your wife said her mom and dad live there, so I could bet her dad buys them all.
Well, I don't know. Her dad's not allowed to eat much sweets anymore because he's got in trouble. So
Oh no.
more sweets for me. No. Anyway, yeah, we're there every weekend and probably once or twice a week, which is a problem.
Yeah.
It's a serious issue. We need to pray about.
You need to pray.
Okay, I'm
You
looking
need
up the
prayer.
Sphinx. What is it? How do you spell Sphinx?
SPHINX.
How did I not know that?
Oh.
So, since you're taking forever, we'll move on to the next topic and come back to that. sent you guys that picture of that poll that we'd seen. So which of the following do you view as the least theological knowledgeable? So it was Baptist, Pentecostal, Methodist, Lutheran, or not sure. It reads in percentages 12 and 52 for Pentecostal, 9 for Methodist, 6% for Lutheran, and 22% not sure. I don't know how I feel about that. I know our religion is one of the newer ones of the group. I don't know if that has something to do with what everybody thinks, but what are your guys' thoughts?
I want to know. Oh, you asked someone that question, or you saw that poll?
I saw that poll.
It was on a YouTube channel.
On a YouTube channel. Yep.
A YouTube channel.
Correct.
Yep. Because I dug and dug and dug through all their polls. I tried to find that poll that you took a screenshot of, and I wanted to read the comments.
Yeah.
So I would have a better understanding of what people were, like, reason why they voted the way they voted. I could never find it. I saw all kinds of different things. I went through years of polls that he did, or how many months he's been active.
So that was from October of last year. I don't know if you
Could not find it.
But
Yeah, I was going to ask you who told you that, because then you could just give him a good smack to the face, but that's not appropriate. So we're not going to say that out loud. Just cut that out. Just cut that part out.
there will be no cuts.
Oh, whoops.
All right. So
I seriously cannot. Oh, wait, there it is.
Are you still looking at the Sphinx?
I am. I'm super interested in this. It's very interesting.
We moved on.
Do
Okay.
either
I
of
know.
you-
I'm sorry.
either of you have any political hopes or dreams?
Yeah. I hope that this crap stops really soon.
Well, I'm talking about you personally.
Oh, me personally.
Yeah.
What do you mean by political hopes and dreams? I don't.
So we went to Midwest Men's Conference last March. The big one over in Illinois only happens every other year. They push their church members to become active in politics, try to get the changes through to really help people. They're in many city councils, county councils. They got people starting to go into like the state Supreme Court and that kind of stuff, and do things. They've got people that are in the in the state Senate now.
Illinois is a good place to start. It's a great place to start.
Yes, but the pastor of that church you can't make an influence if you're not in it. So
That's a good point.
He's trying to get all his people into it. This is a 800-seat church in a town of 300 people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's got a lot of people coming, a lot of people doing it, and it's a big work of church of work. One of the biggest Celebrate Recovery groups that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They do a lot of good work. He really puts out there that we need to be out there with the people, trying to make this thing work for people, trying to make things better. So I don't know. I personally, give me a few years to try to get some things settled. I may try to go over here and work with city council and try to figure some things out, because we've got some rampant drug problems and things around.
You got some dandies.
Yep. But
yeah, I really hope.
Doing.
I really hope Tyler becomes president. I'm not voting for him, but
You'd be my vice president, so it'd be Todd and Todd.
that would be awesome. I would seriously make ice cream free for every person on the planet. Because the USA doesn't just stick their nose in our own business. We stick it in everyone else's business, too. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I know we have a lot of people at our church that are politically, that are like in the political system. We have a couple politicians. I think Pastor does some like luncheons with some politicians every once in a while. Am I right about that, Tom?
I know he's gone to some council meetings.
Yeah.
and spoke up against different things. You got Brother Larry, who's just got elected.
Yes. Yep.
For
I forgot about that.
Is it a treasurer or
treasurer,
or is it or assessor?
I think he's the treasurer.
But here's my 2 cents on it. I mean, yeah, it's a great prospect if you want to be involved in politics. But the one thing that you have to really ingrain in your mind and your heart, I guess, is you have to be a witness first and foremost with it. And I think a lot of times people who have great intentions when they get into politics and they are Christians, but they let their faith dictate their law. And I think that we should allow our upbringing to dedicate our moral high ground in a sense, but not so much in delegating to people who aren't in the same boat as us, who don't want this, who don't want those things. And I think because that's the biggest problems. Because if you make those big, huge cuts and say, okay, Bible in schools. Like some schools have been doing that, like in Texas. They're pushing a law through that makes having the Bible a part of your curriculum to be read, not just to be taught, but to be read is required. Or maybe it's Alabama. It's one of those 2 southern states.
Yeah, no, I think it's Alabama.
But I mean, it has some big repercussions, and then it puts a mark on that faith. So if they find out you're Pentecostal and you're doing those things, then you're kind of negating your witness and ability to try to win souls. So I'm not saying hide your light under a bushel in that sense, but I'm also thinking that it's a tightrope. It's a very big tightrope.
Yeah.
I think it's something that you have to. The kids are back. So I just want to tail off what Tyler said. I think it's one of those things that you have to kind of walk. It's a weird thing to balance because obviously there's a lot of people in politics that aren't doing the right stuff, but I think equally there's a lot of people that are trying to do the right stuff. But we just don't hear about that because the media likes to point out, who is really bad and then who's really, really bad. So, but I totally agree with Troy that it's important that we get involved in it. I just don't think about it very much because I get irritated, and my circle, not including Tyler, because Tyler and I usually talk about Star Wars and we don't talk about politics, but the circle of people that I do talk about politics with, they're either one side or the other. They're not teetering and saying, hey, there's good on both sides of this thing. We just got to figure out what the happy medium is. I think that's a huge thing, is just trying to help people understand. And I don't know, maybe that's my political aspiration, Troy, is to get people to understand, hey, there is good on both sides of this thing. And we don't have to be as divided as we have been. But I think together we can come up with a decent option. So that's my take on it.
I mean, it seems like there's fewer and fewer people that are willing to admit there is a middle.
Yeah.
There's things that...
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know. So I just want to try to figure some things out and see what we can do,
Yeah.
Last topic, though. You guys ever heard of the pizza clock?
I've never heard of it. I've actually was going to ask you.
Never bid a clock.
So,
You've
pizza
never
clock
bid a clock?
Huh?
He said he's never bid a clock.
No. So, the pizza clock is... There were pizza places around the Pentagon that would...
I've heard of this.
Put out... When there's things getting ready to happen in the world, they would see a spike in their pizza sales. But somehow, they were publishing it out there, letting people know, hey, weird hours of the day, we're getting lots of pizza sales over here at the Pentagon. So, watch out, something's happening. That clock has since been shut down. But the other one...
What?
Yep. The other one's a Doomsday clock that we use to govern global threats. Currently, it's set to 90 seconds to midnight.
That's not a lot of time.
Minute and a half from total doom.
Yeah.
I went back and did some research, looking through it. Furthest it's ever been from midnight, 1991, it was 17 minutes. Slowly crept towards where it's at right now. So, like 95, it went to 14, 98 to 9, 02 to 7, 07 to 5, 2010 to 6. So 2012, it went to 5, 15 went to 3 minutes, 17, 2.5, 18 to 2, 20 went to 100 seconds, and 23 to 90.
What?
So it's currently, slowly creeping.
What is?
Just a couple more minutes. Couple more minutes. Just a couple more minutes.
He wants to be a part of it.
They
That's
just
super interesting.
stop and ask me if they can have their own podcast here every day.
Hey, let's go.
But
Paw Patrol podcast, buddy.
yeah, but no, we're at 90 seconds now. Say 90 seconds to certain doom. So I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on it, where we're at. We know Russia has subs in the south.
Yeah.
I heard about that the other day. That's crazy.
A lot of the European countries have been amassing a lot and increasing a lot of their military spending. A lot of the analysts predicted that in the next 10 years there is going to be some civil unrest, I guess to say it mildly, in the UK and the European countries because of Russia. So it's definitely something to keep your eyes on. One thing that NATO has been doing and encouraging the different countries. Because I think to be a part of NATO, you have to have so much of some money or ability to spend or something along. I'm not sure. I know there's an entry point. And a lot of those countries who cannot, they're trying to encourage because of the potential of our presidential elections.
Yeah.
Because we pay like 80% of NATO's bill.
Yep.
It's not
and
surprising.
if Trump gets back in presidency, he's already said that he's going to pull U.S. out of NATO. And so they're like freaking out because of that potential thing happening.
Will that lower the cost of pizza in the U.S. or raise the cost of pizza? I'm asking for a friend.
They'll find a place to spend it. Trust me, they'll find some place to spend it.
So I think, are you done? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, I'm good.
I think the 90 seconds to total destruction is not far off. My thoughts are, so obviously I'm very I'm pro-Israeli, I guess you could say. Yeah. So my thoughts on it are, as soon as Israel builds their third temple, we're looking at moments. I don't really know how the whole thing will play out. I did a Bible study on it, I don't know, probably a couple months ago now. But anyway, basically, they have everything ready for the temple. They're just waiting to get the two mosques that are up there off of the Temple Mount, so that way they can erect their new temple. It's prefab, so it's going to go up within a year. And then you have, moments from, so you've got, and we're talking about this in the next podcast, we're talking about red heifers, so you have the moments where the red heifers are burned. Then you have the building of the temple, and then from there you have the inception of the Antichrist coming in and declaring himself to be God. So, like, within, if you're talking about seconds being years, well, it'd be 90 years or something, I don't know. Anyway, there's not a lot of time left, is what I'm trying to say. From what I have gathered. So I presented it to our Bible study group as, hey, listen, we're not really waiting any longer on prophecy. We're basically now waiting for Israel to get fed up with the Arab nations of the world, which they're pretty much there. And then all we really need is another 6-day war to kind of push ourselves into that moment where the temple would be built. And then, in my perspective, you've got 3.5 years of peace. and then Tyler's talking about total, the whole European issue with Russia. My rabbi actually had said, after the 3.5 years of peace, the entire world is going to attack, and they talked about different dreams that people had, but most of it was just the church coming under attack and scrutiny, the Jews coming under attack and scrutiny, and then the rapture happens. And they're probably happening simultaneously. Or at least that's what they said. I have no clue. I mean, if you ask me, I don't know. But so my assumption is the man of sin, he's going to go in, he's going to desecrate the Jewish altar with the abomination of desolation, which we can get to next week because that's a huge thing. But anyway, if we have time. But he does the abomination of desolation and then sits on the Holy of Holies and claims to be God, and then rapture takes place somewhere in there. Now, that's not the pre-trib ideology. I'm not going to tell you what I think, but the hopeful thing is that he comes back before all that takes place. But a lot of people are saying that he's going to come back during, and then there's also some people who think it's going to happen after. So 90 seconds is not, it's pretty accurate, I think.
Yeah. All right, well, with that, thank you guys for joining me tonight. It's, got to go up there and start getting some kids to bed now, so.
Yeah. Go to bed! Better go put your wife to bed now.
Starts dragging him into bed and, like, pulling him behind him. Bedtime! Throws him in the bunk.
I can see Troy throwing his kids.
I can see.
Just picks them up by the back. Whoosh.
He's like, okay, bed. You.
Yeah.
He eats him.
It's like Bam Bam with his stick. Just bam!
Yep.
That kid's out. Bam! That kid's out. All right, let's go.
Like that. Thank you guys. I'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right, peace.
Okie dokie.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Long live the Empire.